What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. The NBA All-Star Weekend was pretty interesting. You had Michael Jordan grabbing on Mary J. Blige's behind. Naughty. There was Steph Curry hitting 16 threes in the All-Star game. There was the Dale and Rich Paul situation. But then there's also Vanessa Bryant. And Vanessa Bryant was there because the inaugural Kobe and Gigi Bryant like All-Star Game or WNBA Advocacy Award was given to Vanessa Bryant on his behalf. And Vanessa Bryant, she had a big black overcoat. Now, it does seem, you know, a little improper to wear that inside of a building. And I noticed myself that she has put on a considerable amount of weight. But, you know, people's weight goes up and down, right? Just like, you know, Janet Jackson, me, all right? People's weight go up and down. It fluctuates. That's just human nature. People got offended by me saying that, but hey, it's just life, okay? But one thing that people are saying that I didn't say was that she was pregnant. And it makes sense because people are saying the same thing about Adele. You know, a woman puts on a little bit of weight. Maybe her tummy is not as flat. All right, you are pregnant. Now, let me just talk about this because many people from all aspects of the, you know, basketball world, our commentators are saying that regardless of race. But I do believe that black people in particular from our community were saying that for a different reason than everybody else. Okay. And I feel that a certain segment of the black community would like Vanessa Bryant to be pregnant. And I'm not talking about most people. Most people are even appalled, especially black men, black women, that people are even calling her pregnant because they feel like they're not respecting the fact that she lost her son. I mean, her husband and her daughter. And she's trying to cope with that. So to be fair, most people are being supportive that I've seen. But those who are detractors, I know why it's going on. There's a real reason that it's going on in the black community for those that are commentators. And I'm going to tell you this. People are still upset that Kobe Bryant picked a non-black woman to marry. They're also upset that when he passed away, he left all his money to her. People are still a little bitter that the parents were not allowed to speak at the funeral or at some of the celebrations or memorials and things like that. That her mom got a lot of the money and things like that. He didn't get anything, things of this nature. All right. And I'm going to tell you what the whole idea is. If Vanessa Bryant comes up pregnant, here's another way to say, listen, you gave this non-black woman all of this money. And it's not even 2 years from the time that you've died that she's gotten somebody else. And that person is going to be living off your money. How loyal of a woman is she? That is exactly what people are going to say. Some of them. So anything to make Kobe Bryant look bad for choosing a non-black woman. And I want to talk about this because that sentiment was being said by a small partition of detractors when he passed. We had some women that go so far as to say, well, you know what? I don't feel no kind of way about him. He married a non-black woman anyway. What was he doing for the black community? That's what you black men do. Go get all that money and go give it to somebody who's not black. And that is where a lot of the problems come in. Let me just talk about this. All right. Robert Smith, who was married to a woman, I believe, of mixed race, or she would be considered African American. But Robert Smith, who is 59 years old, he's married to like a former Playboy model. She's even younger than me. All right. She's 37. So he is 22 years older than her. OK. Now, if you believe, you know, listen to me, I believe that, you know, outside of the money, there would be no reason why she would date him. But that's another story. OK, here's what I want to talk about. Robert Smith gave money to Morehouse for many black men. It was like $50 million, something like that, to all the graduating class to give them a head start in life. Do you know what the argument was for him? Well, he got a white wife. His wife is white. His wife is white. What did that mean? His wife is white. Now, this is what somebody who's giving money to the black community. Despite that he does have a Caucasian wife, and if I'm not mistaken, he gave like $2 million more recently out of the African-American investors. He gives a lot of money back in the black community. Still, what we're dealing with is, what about his wife? That's all we're talking about here. Okay? That's what we are dealing with. Okay? That's what we're dealing with. What about his white wife? So think about that. If this is the case, listen to what I'm about to say. With Robert Smith, who has a white wife, who does give money back to the black community, what would it be about Kobe Bryant, who don't have that history? Kobe Bryant kind of had maybe a little bit of a similar perspective to Jordan when he was playing. You didn't really see them speak out on issues that regarded the black community. Michael Jordan has as of late, but in his playing days, he didn't do that. Michael Jordan wasn't known to do stuff for HBCUs or do things in the black community. If so, it wasn't really so publicized. Okay. And both of these guys were with non-black women. Now, the reality is this. Here's what we want to talk about. Okay. I want to know one thing. Why is it that people are always questioning whether some black man is dealing with a non-black woman instead of looking at the reasons why it may happen? If you look at a guy like Kobe Bryant, he spent most of his time, at least many years, in Italy. He said himself when he was in high school, he felt like people didn't like him, that he was a nerd, he was not accepted. He grew up around Laura Marion. So culturally, was Kobe Bryant really connected to the culture? So much so. He lived an international life. And see, that's what happens when you become successful. See, you don't believe me? Look at LeBron. LeBron has a black wife. His son will not marry a black woman. Because that's what happens when you become successful. Your kids experience a different world than you. The same thing with Jelly Bean Bryant and Kobe. Jelly Bean Bryant, his father, Kobe Bryant experienced things, so he sees a different world. People don't understand that. But that's the real motivation for some of this stuff coming against Vanessa Bryant, is because, hey, black men, you know, you're going to give all your money away. She's going to go and get pregnant by somebody else, preferably a non-black man, and they're going to live off your inheritance. It would have been better off giving your money back to the black community. And the reality is that even if she was pregnant, it wouldn't be any of your business because the man passed away. It's not like she had a baby on him when they were together, when he was living. If that's the case, it's none of my business. But a lot of that stems from this sort of ideology. And I get it, you know, let's keep it in the black community, all this other stuff. But until you realize the circumstances of why guys do what they do, you won't be able to have more black and black marriages. They're on the decline for a reason, but we don't want to talk about it. Well, guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I already appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe at the bell. Check out the first comment at the top. And as you know, the buffoonery remains the all-time high. I'm out.